Hi, this is Mike from the Substream. This is Watch This Instead, May 7th. The original Iron Man movie was a spectacular, surprising success, in large part because it was a really good movie. And that was kind of surprising because it's a really good movie that also happens to be a Hollywood blockbuster blow-up movie, and those two things don't usually go together. Because when you're making a good film, when your goal is to make a film that you could be proud of as a filmmaker, that's a solid piece of cinema, you need actors that can act, characters that seem believable, and a story that goes in an interesting, original place. And when you're making a Hollywood blow-up movie, you need movie stars that, if they can act, well, that's a bonus. You need characters that are heroic and strong and handsome and do cool stuff with machinery and guns. And you need a story that has the requisite number of fighting, blow up, kill the bad guy scenes. And those things don't usually mix, except they found an actor who's a movie star and an actress that's a movie starette in Gwyneth Paltrow and Robert Downey Jr. They found a character that's interesting and a character that blows shit up in Iron Man, and they found a story that works and is interesting and original and goes in interesting places, and a story that has a requisite number of blow-up scenes in the script for the original Iron Man movie. Unfortunately, the sequel, Iron Man 2, loses two out of those three things and just keeps Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow while getting rid of the interesting character thing and the interesting script story thing. The story of the second film, Tony Stark, who is Iron Man, spends an hour plus being sad because he's being poisoned by his own artificial shrapnel magnet inside his body. And that's what a large part of the film is about. It's him dealing with the emotional fallout from being a famous Iron Man guy and being sick. There's a lot of scenes of him talking to Gwyneth Paltrow character, Pepper Potts, and they have a kind of charisma that gets really tiring after about the 8th or 9th minute of it happening. There's basically no action in the first hour and 40 minutes of the film because there's no real bad guy in the film. There's a bunch of bad guys doing bad things, but for all intents and purposes, leaving out a scene at the Monaco Grand Prix and leaving out the last kind of action finale 10 minutes, this is a movie about two rival corporations and a guy that feels bad because he's sick. And it's really kind of boring. Tony Stark in the first film was an original classic hero who went on a journey of self-discovery and made difficult moral choices when he learned about the nature of himself and what he was doing. He went from being a billionaire arms dealer into deciding that his company was no longer going to manufacture arms, and became a hero in part because of some kind of self-abnegation where he said, no, I'm not going to take this billions of dollars anymore because it's more important to do world peace. The second film, he just kind of hangs around in a basement while the army weaponizes his technology, and the film is kind of tacitly okay with that. In the first Iron Man film, you've got a guy that stands up to the American military-industrial complex, and in the second film, you've got a guy who's kind of just okay with the army taking his suit away because what they want is to have a sequel with another Iron Man called War Machine, who's like Iron Man except he has a giant gun on his back. It's really, really disappointing. So what should you watch? Instead, there's a moment in Iron Man 2 where he hangs a Shepherd Fairy print of Iron Man on the wall, and it's a kind of ha-ha, wink-wink, nudge-nudge, Obama-type thing. But thankfully, you don't have to watch Iron Man 2, because if you live in a place that's got a good movie theater, you can go out and watch instead Exit Through the Gift Shop, which is Banksy, street artist Banksy's documentary that he made in a weird way, a prankumentary about himself, about this guy, Thierry Guetta, filming him for a documentary. It's way more entertaining, way more original than anything going on in the very, very, very lackluster, subpar Iron Man 2. And that's not to say I don't like the Iron Man movies, because the first one was one of the best films of the year. They just really went on a weird sequel, happy, let's set up 8 different characters for their own franchise and take advantage of an audience that's going to come see our movie anyway thing for the sequel. And it's kind of offensive and rude. I'm depressed.